The Spurs have won the West in at least a little bit of a surprise to have it go the way that it did, especially in Oklahoma City, to do that at Paycom Center. And the Spurs have taken hold of the NBA, at least for the moment, and they'll try to do it in full in the NBA Finals now.
Michael, the nation is healing. I don't think there's a single
Jonah's so happy.
I'm not the only one. I
No,
think the
you're
entire
definitely not
absolutely
the
not.
only one.
I think
Absolutely
the
not.
entire country outside of Oklahoma City was hoping that the Spurs would win this series. And don't get me wrong, I think we're probably a year away from the entire country not wanting the Spurs to win a series.
Yes.
Just the way, there are no haters in this world stronger than basketball haters. But this series specifically, after the flopping and it got to a point where basketball fans were fed up watching it.
Yeah.
They didn't want to see another series of it. They felt that it was disingenuous. And honestly, this series gave me hope for our country. That people around the world can tune into a basketball game and look at these two teams and say, you know what? I don't like the way they play. They don't play the right way. They don't play ethically. They are trying to, maneuver the system to benefit them. I don't like that. And they condemn that, so they'll support the team that is playing more the right way. The funny thing is the Spurs, after about game 2 or 3, were like, all right, we'll play this brand of basketball if you're going to start reffing it this way. But still, people around the country, basketball fans, were tired of OKC's hijinks and decided that we're going to pull for the Spurs because we want to reward the team that didn't feel like they had to play that way to win a basketball game. And so I felt a little inspired by that. You know what? If we can all unify and say, that's right and that's wrong, cool. Gives me hope.
Agreement these days is hard to come by on kind of anything. So,
But again, in a year from now, there are going to be a whole bunch of people watching me like, I can't stand Wemby. I can't do that. It will reach that point because that's the way it always goes in the NBA.
Wemby's an interesting litmus test for that, though, because he does seem to be likable. His moment post-game, breaking down the emotion that he showed in that moment, that they had achieved this goal and they had slain the dragon and taken the Thunder down, and he broke down and was genuinely emotional. Here's some of it right here.
I have a question about this because I was watching this. At some point, he looks up in the stands and is like, we've all seen the picture now where he's like, who is he gesturing to up in the stands?
This is probably family. Because after the game, his dad came down and gave him a big hug.
Here, right there. I'm trying. Like, who is he looking at?
It's got to be family.
It's got to be family.
A lot of times they'll
box
have behind their bench.
There's usually a family section, so it's that family would be there. It's not like they're tucked away in a tunnel.
I'm not a big basketball fan, but watching this Saturday night and even right now watching it again, like I have goosebumps because the emotion is just like Jonah was talking about. It's the humanity. It's the joy, the triumph, the emotion, all of it.
And so because
really cool.
of all of this, I wonder, how long does his likability last? Does he have longer shelf? Because at some point, everybody gets sick of it. If you're there all the time, if you're the Patriots, eventually people hate you.
Well,
people didn't hate the Patriots in 2001, probably not even in 2003.
Right.
But I'll bet you by 2004 they did. Certainly by 2007 they did.
2000. Yeah.
Well, all the behind-the-scenes controversies that
people
help
didn't
either.
hate LeBron when he first came in. They didn't hate him in 2007 when he dragged the Cavs to the NBA Finals, but they sure as heck hated him by 2011 after he dipped out on Cleveland and did the decision. And
I was going to say that
11,
alternating
12,
circumstances
13,
in that one
14.
too.
But sure, but that's the case with any of these guys. Eventually, they become hateable because they're always there. He feels like somebody who's going to be always there.
Now, I posed this to Andrew earlier off show. Steph Curry it seems to be one that some people dislike him, but I don't know many of them. He's one of those universally beloved figures, changed the game, super fun to watch. But the Warriors team, to some people, became
when
annoying.
They added KD, people started to hate a little bit.
And that's the point
well,
that Andrew
okay, so he's baiting me into trying getting into this.
That's not bait.
That's absolutely bait.
Kelly,
do you want to get in here first?
Okay, let me make my. So, did people hate the Bulls in the 90s?
Eventually, yes.
Some people
I
did.
mean, really?
Ask Knicks fans.
There are
Or to take it back, the Cowboys in the 90s.
absolutely one of the more
Actually,
polarizing.
yeah, I know
teams,
that is
yes.
actually a true story.
The funny thing is people hate greatness, like they hate dynasties, but they
watch.
crave them.
Yes.
I
Because
don't know
it's
if
good
that's-
for the sport.
I don't know if they crave them. I think
Yeah.
it just draws eyes because people want to see them go down.
I take back my point about the
Sure.
Cowboys in the 90s because I forgot that when my husband, as like a first grader, moved from Texas to Wisconsin, got beat up for wearing a Cowboy starter jacket.
Bringing it back to Wemby is his story is just beginning here.
Yeah.
And I think it is, as sports fans, especially in 2026, we love to rush to the end of a story. We already want to play it out in our minds. How many championships, Hall of Fame, he's going to be the next, great one, right? We're already trying to put him on that path, which is, one, not kind of fair. But two, when you're that good and that much of a unicorn, it's hard to not think about it. Because we haven't seen somebody like this. It's not even just the height and the ability to do dribble behind your back, step back threes at 7. Like, what are you... Alien is the most apropos nickname for him, but it's also that he is a unicorn off the court, that he can be introspective, but also villainous sometimes.
Yeah.
That he has kind of this alter ego where sometimes he is really thoughtful and has really strong things to say, and sometimes he butts out on media entirely and then shows emotion on the court. Or maybe he chucks Jalen Brunson's 61-point ball into the stands. Like, he is a duality of villain and hero all at once, and he's only 22 years, right? 22 or 23 years old. We've got another 15 years of this, assuming his body holds up, knock on wood, because I want to see it play out. I want to see what his story holds. I don't want to rush to the end with him.
But it's interesting you bring that up because the NBA is in such a weird parody mode right now. When the Nuggets won, it was like Jokic is multi-time MVP. He's going to go back-to-back. Let's see how many of this team can rattle off.
Yeah.
Haven't
Who's going to
made it
beat
back.
the Nuggets? Who's going to beat the Celtics?
It's the league of
Celtics.
It's
Yeah.
the league
Celtics were
of
the
too
next
many
team.
stars.
Well, the Celtics were going to be that next team, that next young core that was going to go back-to-back. The Thunder, I've draft picks out the wazoo. Everyone expects them to be a dynasty. Now the Spurs haven't even won the finals yet, and we're penciling them in for this one already.
Right.
So, like...
The next 5.
Exactly. So there's no telling how this thing is going to go. I figure it's going to be a fantastic series. I know both of y'all are firmly in the Spurs camp in terms of expecting them to win. I'm not totally sold on that. I expect the hard-fought series, 6 at a minimum.
I do think it's going 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think they're going to just dog walk them. Like I think this is going to be I think it's going to be competitive.
But like let's live in the alternate fantasy land here for a second where the Knicks actually win. What does that do? What does that do
full
for the
Gotham.
Wemby discussion? Seriously. Because I don't think many people would look at the Knicks team and going like, "Oh, they're going to rattle off 3 of the next 4." But if Wemby wins and the Spurs win, we're locked into a dynasty for the next 5.
Yeah, it's interesting because with Steph, he didn't have to go to the finals and lose and then come back and win one.
Right.
And there's this narrative going around that you know for young teams they gotta take their lumps and lose one before they can win one. The Celtics a couple years ago were in that camp.
Yeah.
And they're teams that have been in similar spots.
It's baked into NBA history.
Right.
The Bulls of the late 80s, early 90s before they finally went on their run. Like,
Even the
every team has had-
Heatles
Yes.
had to lose to the Mavs before they could win. If Wemby is that next great one, and maybe that's why we're loading so much onto this series and onto our expectation of legacy. If he is that next great one, his first trip to the finals would be a championship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is
But I mean,
that
LeBron's
fair?
wasn't.
No, I'm not saying LeBron's was.
No, but I'm like, we still think of LeBron in that. Whether you put him at 1 or not is a whole other discussion. But he's definitely in that category of the all-time greats. In his first finals trip, his first 2.
Well, I
finals
think
trips
that
were
also
losses.
goes back to why LeBron's legacy is. That's why the Jordan people will always come after LeBron, is that
Sure.
he needed the Heatles to break through. Which again, it's
Yeah.
the fairness discussion in basketball doesn't work because people are always going to bring their personal opinions to the table. With the Spurs specifically playing against the Knicks, it is hilarious to me that the Knicks and all of the media and all of the street talk that goes on after the games, this is a team that normally would be hated on. I don't think that at all in this series. It almost feels like the Knicks are the small market team in this series, which is
wild.
hilarious.
Given that the Spurs are on the other side of the ledger, yes.
Yeah, and they have like the global superstar. So
But we talked about this with the Knicks last
5
week.
championships in the last 23,
Exactly.
27 years, whatever, is part of that.
The
but-
Knicks are a big market team with a small market history. Like that's the interesting dynamic of it. It's like cheering for the Mets, but they're the Yankees. There's just weird dichotomy with the fandom that's there with the.
it was like the Cubs
Yes,
10 years ago.
Exactly. So just the fact that we have a chance for that is really fascinating, but also to relive the memories from '99 and all. As someone that worked down in San Antonio, people know that people put asterisks on that championship because of the shortened season and everything along those lines. So and also the fact that that was first one post Jordan's Bulls. So there's always some element on that, but just we get the rematch, we get to relive '90s highlights again. It's going to be fascinating to see.
And see just how far television has come in 27 years. That is some grainy old video.
I still remember that Avery Johnson shot from the left side.
Yeah.